Now, ladies and gentlemen, Dreams and Nightmares is finally here, and right off the rip, I just gotta say it's very underwhelming. Now, a few months ago, back in July of this year, we got an announcement that Counter-Strike and Global Offensive and Valve themselves and Gaben was making a case dedicated to the Counter-Strike community. So essentially, if you were to win an item in a case, you would receive money from the skin that was going to be put in this case. And we thought it was going to be very maybe similar to the Gods and Monsters collection or something along the lines of that, Dreams and Nightmares. And I just got to say, from the reception of the community, as well as already looking at all these skins in general, this is not my first time looking at them. They just don't look very good. Like, I'm going to be honest, the higher tier ones, like the AK MP9 skin, I'm just not a fan of how they're at the very top. I think this is very similar to the most recent Snakebite case that came right after the Operation Broken Fang release back in the summer of this year. So let's take a look quickly at these skins. Let's do a quick run through in my review and what I think of this and how this is going to affect the market going through as well. We're going to be starting off with the very bottom with the MP5. Okay, these don't exactly have names as of right now. They do in the shop, but they just have the names of the people who created them as of right now. So this is the MP5 skin. I think it looks all right. I think they could have done something maybe a little bit different. Looks kind of similar to some other MP5 skins that we've kind of seen, like an MP5 Oxide Oasis. I know Hideem Jesus kind of said the same thing. Very much agree with the guy on it. Next up is the MAC10, which I actually think looks like a very cool MAC10. There's some skins in here I actually think that I will give props to and very much like more than others. And this skin in particular, I think there's a lot of good other MAC10 skins, especially for a very good price. You have the Ultraviolet, you have the Fade. So this thing is going to give those things, I think, a run for its money. I don't think it's going to crash anything. I don't think this case is going to crash anything, but, you know, it's a decent looking skin, especially for a blue MAC10. Next up is the Sawed Off. This is a decent looking Sawed Off, but once again, there are so many other cool Sawed Offs in the game as of right now. You have the Apocalypto, which I think is a fan favorite as of right now, and the Origami, which is very, by far, I would say, like the most opened, you know, Sawed Off of all time from that Chroma case. Next up, you have the P2K, which I think this is the most probably underwhelming skin in this entire case. Things like, I think it looks absolutely horrible. If you go back to my original reviews and look and walkthroughs, I guess you could say, and my first thoughts on what Dreams and Nightmares could have been, like, I mean, we saw other P2000 skins, and I wanted to maybe not get my hopes up for a good P2000 skin, P2K, because we usually don't ever get a good P2K skin anymore. I get it's not used as much as the USPS, but, you know, I would appreciate we get some love for, you know, skins and guns like this in the game. And I was talking about how the skin that was featured for a blue in that, you know, on the workshop a little while ago for this case was too good to be a blue. And I was right. This is what I initially was saying in that video, and this is what we got for the final product. Now, here is the MAG7, which actually looks pretty cool, but the problem with the MAG7, once again, like other skins, like, you know, for example, the MP5 and the MAC10 skin, there's just other guns in the game that look just 10 times better. That's all I had to say about it, and just no one really uses this that much anymore. Next up is the Scar 20. I think it looks absolutely horrific. I don't like this at all. I think some people might like it. I'm not a fan. It moves. Obviously not on its own in game. This is just depending on the wear. It's kind of like a certain pattern you can get, I'm assuming, in the game, but it's very underwhelming in my personal opinion for what we could have got for a gun like this. In particular, the colors look kind of off, and it looks like an acid trip, if I gotta say so myself. Take a look at the FiveSeven next. It's a FiveSeven skin. Don't really care too much about it. I think it looks a lot like the op we saw. I think it was the Fever Dream. It looks like it was drawn by a 5-year-old's bottom. I don't care too much for a skin like this. There's just too much stuff going on, and I just think there's other better FiveSeven skins in the game, especially for probably a cheaper price that these are going to be for the first couple days. Next up is something I have a love and hate relationship with, and that is the USPS. I actually don't mind it whatsoever, and it has good parts about it, has some bad parts about it. Here's the back side, and here's the front side. So it's a hit or miss for some people. In my opinion, it's a hit for me, but there's just some things like this over here that I just don't really like, but the rest of it, you know, I could be seeing some decent sticker crafts with this thing, but it's kind of underwhelming as well. It doesn't look as good, I think, as what people thought a USPS skin could have in this game. Next up is the M4A1S, which I think is one of the best skins. That's not the best skin in this entire case in general. And obviously with the M4 being out right now and the M4 being the new hot thing, obviously being $2,900 and being the best rifle in the game, I mean, a lot of people are going to buy this, I think. And I don't like the graffiti on it, but I do like the drawing on it. It reminds me a lot of the AutoOnT Medusa, and it kind of looks a little scary. And I like that to a CS skin. I like that feeling. And obviously they're using the cobblestone background. I think that looks absolutely amazing. Just another shot in game of what this thing actually looks like. It looks pretty good. I like the magazine, how that's like that, but this thing looks pretty good. I mean, if you're on a budget thing for a red, M4A1S, you could always bet the Cyrex. Obviously not the hot rod because it's very expensive. But this thing, in this case, is going to be unboxed like crazy. And I mean, this thing looks not too bad. Let me know what you guys think of this skin down below in the comments. Love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on it. Next up is the Auto on the T side. Not much more to say about it. No one ever uses this thing. It's ass compared to the, obviously, Scar 20. I don't like it. Next up is the PP Bison, which actually looks very, very nice, which is actually going to go with, obviously the Pandora's box gloves and the driver gloves. I can't remember what they're called exactly, but there's a purple version of those. I used to have those for a very long time, and this will go perfect with it. I think this looks better than half the guns we've already gotten in this case. Next up is the, obviously, XM skin. Don't know how I feel about it. Looks kind of cool. Very, very similar to other things like the Scar 20 skin we saw earlier where the things move per pattern. I think it's a cool idea. I think there's going to be some people who pick this up, especially on a budget. I think it looks pretty cool, but I don't know how I feel about it. This is not covered with any sort of skin. It just looks very dull in my personal opinion. And obviously it's an XM skin. I think there's better XMs out as of right now as well. Next up is the FAMAS skin, which is not the one we thought. And also on top of that, we didn't get any skin right, specifically in this case, which is kind of crappy. We originally thought we were going to get so many other skins, especially for this FAMAS skin. It was somewhat similar to the one we thought was going to be in the review that I did a little while ago of what we could be seeing for submissions. And this thing as well, I think it's just very underwhelming. I think it looks kind of cool on this thing. I'd say by far it's the most creative skin we've seen in the game, but I don't know how I feel. It doesn't feel like a nightmare, It feels like I'm dreaming with this. It feels really, really weird. Maybe I get they're trying to make Counter-Strike skins not like, you're going to scream when you see one because you're so scared, but it doesn't look very cool. Next up is the dual Berettas. They're $300 now, same price as the P250. More people are going to buy them. This kind of looks a little scary. Why couldn't we have seen this, on another finish on a gun in the game? I think these look cool. They kind of look a little more scary, and I just think they look kind of stupid scary, if that makes any sort of sense. I don't know why we got this. Next up is the MP7. Color scheme looks cool. I really, really do. Let's take a look, another pick at it in game. I don't know how I feel about it. But you have the MP7 Fade. I don't know. I just don't know. I think a lot of the skins that are coming out in CS nowadays is the problem that I have with them is, well, essentially they're not rare. Like, there's going to be so many people who unbox this case to the point where every case and every gun in this individual case is going to be worthless and worth nothing. So that's the problem I have with it as of right now. Next up is the MP9 skin, which looks kind of cool. I do kind of like the unicorn. It's a hit or miss for some people. I like the color scheme. I don't know, though. I'm going to be honest. I just don't know how I feel about it. I don't feel like this fits into Counter-Strike as a skin. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I think I'm on the side of not liking it, but I do really like this aspect of all the colors. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I do like that. It's not my favorite MP9 skin in the game, but it's a little more creative than I thought. And this was on an AK skin a little while ago by OniPixel, who did a video on it a couple days ago, who thought this was going to be on the AK, ended up being on the MP9. So it's very interesting to see how that went. So here's some other pictures for this. It looks a lot similar to the Worm God, I guess, with the actual wear and tear of it. But yeah, next up and last up is the AK. And the cool thing about the AK, actually, it has a holo effect in game. So kind of like how stickers have a holo effect, this gun has a holo effect, which is kind of cool. A lot similar to other guns we've seen in the game, like the M4A1S print streams or the Deagle print stream, something like that, which is new and something we've seen in CS being added more and more as of recently, especially with this thing. But this thing has got to be just the most underwhelming AK skin of all time. Like, I don't know. Maybe from the RIPTIDE case or the new one we've seen in CS as of recently, that one was the worst. But man, this thing is just, I don't know. I'm kind of speechless. Like, it just looks so bad. It doesn't feel like it should be this high of a tier skin, or it should be in this case. Like, you can barely see what's going on, It looks more of like one of those paintings you see in a museum, and it looks like, a 5-year-old put it together in 3 seconds. I don't get it. I know people are going to say down in the comments, well, what about the creators? Yeah, what about the creators? I'm sorry. It's not their fault for making it. Like, they did a good job making it. This is obviously took some time to make. I'm not on their work. I'm crapping on Valve's picking and choosing of what skin got into the case. Like, it just doesn't work in CS for me, in my personal opinion. It's a lot similar to the living color skin in the Snakebite case. And going forward, I'm kind of worried the path that Valve's going down, obviously, with them adding this many skins going down the line. I think it could be some sort of issue we're going to see in the future with too many skins in the game versus how many players we have, and that's going to crash the economy. Let me know what you guys think. Did you have a good time looking through these? Are you guys interested for more, cases coming out in this case individually? Are you going to be, opening a few of these cases, or are you just going to completely pass on it? Let me know what you guys think. Have a good day, guys. I'm out. Peace.